Everyone. Thank you for joining in. Thank you so much to everyone who took the time out to watch yesterday's episode with Eliza. And thank you so much to everyone specifically who took the time out to send me messages and shared their views on what they felt about the series and my conversation with Eliza yesterday. I look forward to your continued support. And today we have the second episode of Conversation series with Women of Substance. And I'm extremely happy to introduce the speaker for today. So, the speaker for today is Anita Peter. I met Anita through dance. As you all know, and for those of you who don't know, I am a Kuchipudi dancer, and Anita is also an Indian classical dancer. She is a Mohiniyattam dancer, and Mohiniyattam, for those of you who don't know, is an Indian classical dance form from Kerala. Anita started a center called Lasyadrutha to promote performing arts in Hyderabad, and besides this, she also has over 20 years of experience in training professionals in leadership skills. She is the CEO of Persona Script, a firm that she started for the same reason, to train people in leadership skills and a lot of other activities also. Anita started a social initiative called I Pledge for Change, through which she puts across her social views on a lot of causes which she truly believes in and stands for. Besides all of this, Anita is a biker. She has experience in the modeling industry as well as the television industry. She was a participant of Mrs. Gladrags in 2010 and she reached the top 10. She is a motivational speaker and her TEDx talk gained a lot of popularity. I watched it a lot of times because I really connected with it on a lot of levels. And besides all of this, the reason why I have Anita as a part of this series is because she has been a friend of mine for a lot of time now, for many years. And I feel a very strong connection with her and I love her as a human being. So welcome, Anita, to this series. It's so good to see you.
I know, it's so nice to see you, and I was listening to you. I like that. I like the way you talk, it's so gentle and so nice. So I was listening to that, really nice.
I like the way you
Yeah,
talk too, and I look forward to hearing a lot from you today.
sure, sure. I'm
How
all
are you,
ready to
Anita? You're in
answer
Kerala at
everything.
the moment. How are things in Kerala?
Kerala is good. It's been raining quite a bit. I've come here for a reason, a personal reason, and so far that is also happening parallelly. There is work happening and life is virtual, so anything is possible from anywhere.
Right.
So that's the consolation I carry with me.
How has
Yeah.
2020 been for you?
2020, for me, I've always considered it as a reality check. And there are so many things that has not been working for several people. So I feel bad about that, but thankfully it has. I would say when I say it's working for me, at least our near and dear ones and several people that I have been close to, they are safe. I
Right.
know a lot of people have lost their lives, so when I think about that, I would always say I'm so thankful to the fact that we are alive and safe. So that way, I would say it's been pretty okay. It's been a reality check. And I've also realized that several things that I did earlier, I can do without. It's like a simple thing like going to a parlor. I used to dread if I couldn't go to the parlor and there's an event coming. Now I know that I can manage without a parlor, and that's frank. So like that, so many things I've learned to do on my own. And I think once I come out of this, I would come out very independent, and so with my family too.
Yeah.
So that's a brighter side of looking at it. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yes, same.
That's wonderful, Anita, and that's such a positive way of looking at things. Anita, you are a Mohiniyattam dancer, so I have
Yes.
actually three questions related to this. My first
Okay.
one is, why did you get into Mohiniyattam? What attracted you to it? What kept you going and continued you on that path towards doing what you do in Mohiniyattam? And what did you learn from it specifically, like a life skill?
Okay. Um, the first question as to what connected me with Mohiniyattam, it is I was always a very expressive person with regard to facial expressions and eyes, and I spoke more with my eyes. And I learned Bharatanatyam when I was a child, around 8 to 9, 10. That 3 years I did learn, but somehow I would not connect to the dance form, and I used to go and actually play the fool around over there. Then my parents put me for Kuchipudi too, but Kuchipudi also I felt was not very so for my body language. Like, especially you have a lot of exercises in Kuchipudi. We have exercises in Mohiniyattam also, but Kuchipudi used to be like lifting your legs way up in the air and all that. So and my teacher was pretty strict. So I used to just wait to miss my class, and I felt I didn't connect. And post that, I didn't get a chance as such to explore, but it so happened that whenever I see a Mohiniyattam dance form, I connected to the costume more or less of off-white and gold. I don't know why. Frankly, that is the first connect I had. Then the kind of music that was available for Mohiniyattam. And it was very slow, and I'm always a very slow kind of a person. So I connected to the costume, the music. And then when my daughter was 1 year and a few months, I saw this ad in the paper. There was Mohiniyattam classes in Bangalore, and that is how I started. And I thought,
So
no,
you
now
started
she's...
dancing after you had your first child?
Yes, when she was 1 year, 3, 4 months. So I thought, okay, anyway, I'm just sitting at home. Why not go and explore something in dance? I went there. I used to carry her in her bassinet and go for my class. As I started learning, I realized that I could connect with it. And then I started, and as my daughter Neha, she grew up, she was very excited seeing her mother in a costume. She started helping me with little, with all the hair clips and to tie my hair, take my costume. Then I realized that's a very nice thing to teach your daughter also how to sort out things. You need a lot of discipline, and making her a part of it. It was really good, and then I stuck on to it. And as I started learning and all the difficulty possible, I realized that this is one thing that helps me. I may feel low or feel angry or anything, but when you go into the learning space of Mohiniyattam, there is nothing you can carry with you, because end of the day you have to be lasya, that is full of grace and the feminine grace.
Right.
So then I felt, no, this is something I would like to do. Even when I would like to age in grace, and even if I'm bedridden, I probably can lie down and with my eyes, and so I thought, no, this is where I belong. So that's how I stayed, Amy.
Right.
Then I think the second question was
No, the third
what
question
made me
was a life skill that you learned through Mohiniyattam.
Through Mohiniyattam, what I have learned is be composed, whatever happens. Because there is, even in the most angry expression that you have to show in your emote in Mohiniyattam, you should never go overboard.
Right.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can express yourself. There is a boundary of grace that you carry along.
Okay.
So that I have been able to practice in my daily life also. It brought a lot of balance. And that is something I felt was a life lesson that I learned. And the term lasya, I would say, is the most beautiful element that you can carry in your life. That is that of, when you say feminine grace, people think it's feminine, gender oriented. No, I always believe as a woman, feminine, we always have, even the male, like so, yeah. Hello, I think, yeah. So there are a lot of
I can.
Male characteristics also that we have, but nevertheless, to me, a woman is a person who has the fine balance of handling any situation, to be able to multitask and at the same time not lose one's mind and not make a big deal of it. And that is what I have connected with in Lasya oriented dance form like Mohiniyattam, and that's what I carry with me. Yeah. That's it.
That's amazing, Anita, because for a lot of people, dancing is pretty much the movement of hands and legs to a beat. But for you, you have really internalized it and you have used it in your everyday life, and it's such a beautiful way of taking this art through. So, but
Yeah.
Anita, uh, before dancing, I think you were into modeling and television also. So, can
Yes.
you tell us something about that experience?
Yeah, it is not before dancing.
Oh, okay.
In fact, yeah. So along with dance, I also I got an offer of modeling. I never thought I would get into modeling. It was an accident. There are so many accidents that have to happen in my life, which I would today I have another version of it. I wouldn't call it. People say opportunity knocks at your door only once, but I say that opportunity keeps passing by your doorstep. It's up to you to open the door at the right time. So I just finished my work and I was standing waiting for an auto rickshaw. And there were these three people who were passing by and they said, wait, she's got very beautiful eyes. And they told me that. I really felt so shy, like out of the blue, somebody told me.
Are you
And
serious?
they were
This is
people,
what happened.
yeah, they said, yeah,
Wow.
that's what happened. I said, so I was like, God. And the first thing we were taught is, don't talk to strangers. And if somebody says something on the street. So I still was in that frame of mind at that point of time. So when they said that, the first thing was, oh my God, what are they trying to do? It was like that.
Right.
And then they said, see, Anita, there is this audition happening and it is for Ganjam Jewelry. We are making an international video and we are looking for somebody, you fit into that. So I came home and they gave me the card also. So I came home. It was very exciting for me because it's the first time, such a thing happened. And then I went home and I told my husband about it. And I said, no, I just want to go and see. And he said, okay, we'll go. And he came along with me. And we went there and I got through the audition. And that was my first jewelry ad, a video actually that they made, a home, this one. So they did that and that's how I started.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's such an interesting
Yeah.
story.
And that's also after my daughter.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is again a point that I think a lot of people will connect with, because post marriage, a lot of people stop doing a lot of things that they were doing before marriage. But here you are, you started doing so many things and you continue doing it even after having your
Yes.
kids, and that's so inspiring, Anita. Really nice.
Yeah.
I have a question about modeling, acting, and theatre and dance. All
Okay.
four. These are four different things that involve being in the public eye. What are the pros and cons according to you, and how different are these, or how similar are these different fields that you are a part of? You are a part of.
Okay. See, when it comes to modeling, when it comes to television and dance, what happens is people think, okay, you are in front, on stage in front of the camera, and even with regard to theatre, so they actually think that you are an extrovert. Okay, you are not a shy person, you're a very confident person. That's what people think. And in reality, I'm an introvert. And I have my issues in going out for get-togethers. So I don't go for get-togethers unless I really know them, and even if it is, I avoid as much as possible. A lot of my friends know that. And so when there are people who don't know that about me, and they said, come on, yeah, stop playing the fool.
Yeah.
So that is something that I've always felt. People tend to typecast, like if you are doing something that is on stage or in front of people, you are a person who is like, can just interact with people. And sometimes when you get into your shell, like because you're uncomfortable, there are a lot of people around, people would misunderstand you as being arrogant or something like that. But once they get to know me and talk to me, then, it's always been different. Then another thing is, I have felt there's no point. See, if you start doing something like this, it's very normal that people would like to talk to you and also get to know you. So there's no point feeling a little like, God, these people are coming, I better avoid and go. So I actually had to step out of that zone. And when people come and talk to me, I like talking to them, because along with being a known person comes in the responsibility and accountability of being able to influence people in a very positive way.
Yes.
So I used that of mine to be able to work on certain things that I truly believed that need a certain amount of change.
Right.
So yeah, so that is, and it's all the same thing end of the day, and it's very important you don't let anything get into your head, because this is something, it's like a hot air balloon. If you let it get into your head, you'll fly high, but one day it's just going to pop, and then you're just going to be on the floor. So it's something that you should be very grounded, and if you're able to stay grounded, I think nothing like it. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. Anita, you started a center called Lasyadrutha. And you mentioned in, I think, a couple of interviews that the purpose of starting this center was to bring music, dance, theatre and various art forms under one roof and provide a conducive environment for interested individuals to learn in a good way,
yes,
in the right way. So can you please tell us something about Lasyadrutha and the purpose of starting this center?
Okay. Lasyadrutha, as the name itself goes in, it is bringing grace to the rhythm of life. I believe we all have a rhythm in our life, and a rhythm, sometimes it can go really fast paced, it can be really slow, sometimes it can go up, it can come down. Yeah. So basically we all go through different phases in our life. Right. And it's very important for us to carry a certain amount of grace. As I told you, that's the greatest value that I carry in my life with regard to how I want to age. That's how I would like to be. Now, in my something, Amy, that I have faced in my life, especially in Kerala, is that I got married when I was 21, and then I turned 22 after I got married. But the day I got married, I became an auntie, and people started viewing me like that. And I got several opportunities. Like people used to, especially in the film industry, there were so many. When I say film industry, I'm not flaunting or anything, but there were so many coordinators or whatever, production controllers or this one. They would ask me like, are you interested to act? Are you this one? So nice and all that. Yes. And then I have met a couple of directors. They'll tell me the story. Then they'll ask me about my family. And when I tell them that we are in Bangalore, and then they say, okay, so who's there in your family? And I tell them my husband and child. They say, oh, you're married. So that's when I realized what is it to do with being married, to have a flair in in the art you do, okay, and you're interested to take that talent further, not in So yeah, art is what I really loved, and then that's when, and I remember asking a director when he told me that, see, it's very nice that you're looking nice, everything, and that time I was around 36 years old. So he asked me, see, everything is fine, but the problem is, the people don't accept a woman when she's married and has a child, and you haven't made it really big now, and so that is a problem, Anita. And so I asked him, who decides the expiry date of a woman?
Boom.
Yeah, it is something.
What was the response you got to that?
No, that is a totally different story where a movie also came out on that. But yeah, a movie also came out on that. But then I asked him this because I really believed in that. How dare? Like, I was 21. I was in a situation where my mother told me, after marriage you do what you want. That is what I was made to believe. And here there are a number of male chauvinistic people who say that your life is over because you're married and have a child. Yeah. So I realized that there are several people, forget about women, Amy, it is, I've seen a lot of situations where as parents, they are running around taking their children for abacus class, for art class, dance class, music class, but they wait as security guards outside the child's class. Yeah. What is it that they have to do for this? And when you ask, oh, now, with children, how they keep saying things like that. So are you interested? No, when I was young, and they are only 30, 35, and what do you mean when you were young? You're still young. I always believe that when I'm 45 this year in November, when I turn, say 55, I will tell a 45-year-old, you are so young. When I'm 80, I will tell a 60-year-old, you're so young. So stop thinking of yourself as an elderly person who is not eligible for doing anything, and stop doing things only to seek validation or approval. And in that, I started lasyadrutha. So it, with the different art forms that it has, the main criteria is we have no barriers. If you have the interest to learn, don't come and tell me that I'm old and I don't know, and that fear. No, just walk in. And you don't learn Carnatic vocals to be a Shreya Ghoshal or a K.S. Chitra or to win Indian Idol. You make a platform for idol Indians. So basically, if there is a program, if you know the nuances of anything, you can go and enjoy a program better.
True.
So learn to appreciate also. So that's why I started lasyadrutha. Accessible to everybody with no barriers.
Right, with no barriers.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Anita, you mentioned just a few minutes ago that people compartmentalize you. When you say you're an Indian classical dancer or you're an actor, they kind of have this preconceived notion that this person may be a certain way. Here you are, an Indian classical dancer who rides a bike from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. Tell us about that, please.
It is, yeah, I've faced this quite a bit. Oh God, people have told me as a classical dancer, if you ride a bike, your body language will change, and then you won't be, especially Mohiniyattam, you lose the grace, you won't have lasya, all these things, people tell me. But my question to them is that when I ride a bike, I'm not sitting as a Mohiniyattam dancer. When I'm on stage dancing, I'm not like a biker. Suppose if that is true, our actors should not be doing any other character but one character for the rest of their life.
True.
So that theory is wrong. I've always noticed like don't compartmentalize things thinking that definitely for things like I like my students, some of them are learning Kuchipudi and Mohiniyattam, some are learning Bharatanatyam and Mohiniyattam, and they come and ask me. I tell them, see, both the styles are entirely different, and what you need to do, you need to be able to switch off from one and come to the other class.
Yes.
But if you are not able to do that and you are saying, but I'm getting confused, and you don't practice each in its own domain with focus, if you're not able to do it, you have to take a call as to what do you connect with the most and stick on to that.
Right.
Because you cannot make a mixture or something out of both the dance forms and not do justice to each of them. Yeah, those kind of things I do agree to, but don't draw certain boundaries to your abilities or capabilities, because as you go ahead and if you have true passion in what you do, you would be able to stay focused and be present in the moment, and that is the most important thing. Yeah.
True. But Anita, I still want to know, as a biker, like when you travel on the road, like even today in 2020 in India, a woman on a bike traveling across the country, how is the reaction? How is it like? And how, can you tell me a little bit about that experience? Like, what was it like?
Okay. See, we rode from Hyderabad to Kanyakumari, from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, and back to Hyderabad.
Wow.
All right. It was it was a beautiful ride, and I have to say that there are a lot of people who say that it's really safe to go on the streets and all, but it's very important for us to understand that our country is not a totally safe country. It's not only because it's a woman. Today is the time when there are gadgets and so many things that you carry with you. It's quite expensive also. So the person who has a bad intention, surely he would end up doing something, irrespective of whether it's a man or a woman. So let's not create a gender for the safety bit. But what you need to do is you need to be really well planned in any journey that you take. You need to decide as to from the basic cutoff time for riding should be around 6:30. Yeah. So try not to ride, because you shouldn't be caught stranded in no man's land in the middle of the night.
True.
All right. So you need to plan, and also I generally, like, I went to Kerala in March last year. I rode solo from Hyderabad to Kerala and back.
But Anita, what
so during
gives
this,
you that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what gives you that courage and confidence to just take off alone? Because I'm asking not just for me, but I'm asking for God on behalf of a lot of women who don't do that.
Yeah.
And who probably
I'll ask you a question back, Amy. What is it now, if you were to take the bike and or anything, or if you had to travel alone, what are the few things that you are frightened of, if I may know?
Being alone, I think, to start with. Just being alone. Because for me as a
Okay.
person, there were very few occasions where I was alone, and I had to do things on
Okay.
my own. So that's the first thing
All
that comes
right.
to my mind.
Okay. So when you plan a particular travel, first of all, you need to get your itinerary really clear. And second is that I generally, especially now with the given technology that we have, we can always form a group with all the people who are capable of helping you at any point of time.
Right.
So I create a WhatsApp group and then I inform them, and they have their friends in every, wherever I travel, they say that, okay, this person is there in case you need anything.
Okay.
All right. So I also know that is there. And then especially when it comes to riding a bike, you are in your gear. So you have your jacket, you have your helmet, you have your bandana, and generally people don't know who you are. They even don't know if you're a woman or a man riding. So that also, so the minute I put all that, I know that nobody knows me, neither do I know them, and they have no clue. Correct. So that is another thing that gives me a lot of courage. And nevertheless, I never stop in a lonely space. I go to a dhaba, and a dhaba also only if I see there are men as well as women, not only if there are men.
Right.
And generally, I make sure that I don't openly interact with everybody. If they come and talk to me, I will talk to them, and I generally speak to families where there are kids also. So, and then when I stay anywhere, I make sure that the place is not something, I don't go by, like, I make sure that I don't stay in a space that, like in a place that is below a certain budget where there are, you know, just to save on cost, because I save up enough for a ride.
Correct.
So, safety is the most important thing for me. So the courage bit is, it happens over a period of time, Amy. Always remember, courage is not something that someone can come and give you 500 grams or 1 kg or 2 kg, or no, I'm going to do something like this, I need 50 kgs. Nobody is going to ever give it to you. That develops over a period of time. Get out of your comfort zone, start exploring, and when you do a little for the first time, you come back, thank God, I'm so happy I did it. And the next time, you know that you can go or cross that one boundary and go to the, a little, you raise the bar.
Right.
Slowly, slowly you raise the bar. Otherwise, I would have never attempted anything in my life. Everything has been raising the bar slowly, slowly over a period of time. And now if you ask me, yes, I have the courage to do, but again, as I say, not foolishly courageous.
Right.
Sensibly courageous, not to prove to anybody. It's just that I want to do something, I'm out there to do it.
True.
Yeah. I hope I answered the question.
Yes.
Yes.
You've always been inspiring me, Anita. So this is just one of another moment for me. Anita, I
Thanks.
loved your TEDx talk. I watched it a lot.
Thank you.
And I quote you. You started your talk saying that I am 43 years old. And there was an applause. Do you get that a lot?
Yes, I get that a lot now because I say it with confidence. There was a period of time, Amy, I was not confident not to tell my age. People did make me believe that if they come to know who I am, I would lose out on opportunities. So I was very frightened to say that. And I would say that was at a period of even till I was 30, 32. All right, because I was very frightened. What will people say if I'm married? What if they know I'm a mother? What? Because more than anything, I was happy being a wife and a mother, but people made me hate myself for being a wife and a mother, because if you were single, then you could have been considered. Even for a regular job, when they know that you are a mother, will you be able to work late nights?
Right.
Would you be able to do all this? And even if you say you are able to, there is a question, but what if your child falls? Those, see, you don't, if I were to interview somebody, I'm not going to say now, what if there is an earthquake and you go under the rubble and you lose, you know, your leg is injured, you get fractured and you can't walk, the next day you cannot come for work. Now, if I start building up a scenario like that, nobody in this world can ever do anything. But it's so this one that when it comes to a woman doing several things, they have 100 criteria. So I tell even my students, Amy, like, I have students who are older, and I tell them, see, don't, some of them tell me that, see, I have back pain, I have knee pain. And I tell them that, see, when you sit at home doing nothing and you have back pain and knee pain, it's never a big issue. You get so comfortable and that becomes your way of life.
Right.
You come for a dance to learn something and you tell them, oh, why did you have to join dance at this age? At this age you shouldn't do that. Is why you got the back pain and knee pain. But how many people have back pain, knee pain without doing anything in their life? That is okay. You qualify for that. Right? So because I wanted to break this taboo, I started announcing my age. I have heard that you wait till you're older. I've heard that from 35-year-old people. I've heard that from 40-year-old people. And I was way younger than them that time. They said now the blood is rushing, all those things. And they say you wait till you become our age. And I have crossed their age and still they'll always be elder than me. And today I have reached way beyond the age that they told me that in. So I announce my age with a lot of pride. I was 43 that time. Today I'm 45.
And
so that's how that started.
You're killing it at 45.
Thank you, Amy.
Again, I'll quote you from your talk, okay? Because this is another point that resonated with me, and I feel that there are a lot of youngsters who probably go. I'm assuming that they probably go through a similar situation wherein you were labeled as a rebel, you were labeled as being stupid, you were labeled as being someone who couldn't concentrate, who couldn't focus. How did you deal with that, Anita? You would have probably been a young teenager when all this was told to you. But look at you today, you're so confident and you're doing so many things, you're inspiring people. But how did the 14, 15-year-old Anita cope with it?
It was not easy, because there I was struggling to let people know that this is who I am. I may not be good in math, I may not be good in mugging up and probably getting a rank, but I have a good side to me. Please see that.
Yeah.
But frankly speaking, it's always your mark sheet that speaks for you. It always speaks if you are the teacher's best student.
Yeah.
It speaks very good, like if you're going to be certified the best if you don't have an opinion for yourself and only say yes to everybody. But if you have an opinion for yourself, you are considered you're not brought up well, or didn't your parents bring you up well, you don't know how to respect elders, it's considered that. It was really difficult for me, and I also had, there was once a period of time when I had a group of friends who actually really liked being with me at one point of time, but when their parents asked them, who asked you to go there? No, Anita forced us. And they called me and they said, Anita, I'm so sorry, no, you can manage. They all hid behind me. I took the lashing, literally, verbal lashing from their parents, and what they said, Anita, please don't tell her name. So that is when I came to know there must be something in me that people are hiding behind me to stand up for themselves.
Right.
And that incident actually gave me, I think the time when I got my first footing of standing up.
Right.
Because it was a betrayal, and in all the betrayal I got a lot of people branding me like, look at her, how she can do. But actually I had to stand up for myself and really plead, no, it was not me, convincing people, it was not me. I cried a lot. And then today all of them are, they are all over the world, and I see them, I have really evolved from what I was. So it was difficult, but today that I feel those are, when people say stepping stone, my definition of stepping stone is very different. It's the stones and rocks people throw in front of you. You stand on that, and the more it falls, that is the stepping stone for me. And I've had so many stepping stones, Amy. Today I stand so high. And you throw more, it's okay, throw more. I want to climb higher. So I would generally call myself a mountaineer right now.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't think that's ever going to stop.
You started very young, no, Anita?
Very young.
You were also
very young.
Called arrogant. I remember hearing in your interviews, in your talk, you were called arrogant because you had an opinion and you did not want to follow the herd. You wanted to do what meant something to you.
Correct. In fact, when I was in the 9th grade, I still remember something that it's funny. There was this man. I was walking on the road on a Sunday in Kerala, and you have these men who flash or whatever you call them. So yeah, it's like really, I know it's Insta Live, but this is a fact. So I was so paranoid, Amy, and I ran to. We had this police aid post. Okay, so I ran to one of them. I said, "Sir, that man is showing me something I shouldn't see," and I became so paranoid. This cop, he took this, took his book and he said, "Okay, can you just describe the man? Do you know where he stays? Do you know his name?" And I was like, "You dumb, but if I knew, I'll go straight to his house. Why am I coming? And what do you mean describe him? I'm trying to avoid him." And that's the first time I spoke to a cop like that.
Wow.
So sometimes situations have pushed you to a point where, even like when I was in the 10th grade, there was an accident I witnessed, and this guy was on a scooter and he fell down. He was a lot of blood and people were just standing and watching. I remember asking them for help and sitting in the auto, they put him, and I went to the hospital. I was only in the 10th grade.
Wow.
Yeah, 10th grade. So sometimes it is not that I would not say a rebel, but I always felt something has to be, I prefer looking for solutions rather than clinging on to a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I learned it from I've seen my dad like that. So probably that's the little influence I had in my life. Yeah.
Right. But that's amazing, Anita, because the fact that you so openly acknowledge these things, like on a platform like TEDx, you're standing there and you're saying these things, and you're so proud of who you were and who you've become. I think that is just really inspiring. And a lot of people don't do it because they themselves are pulling themselves back and they're not letting themselves move forward. So it's really inspiring. And your social initiative, I Pledge for Change, it does a lot of work. And recently you released 3 short films on mental health. I loved watching all 3. Can you please tell us something about it?
The movies?
The movies, the thought process, what made you think of this topic, and what made you do what you did?
In fact, I Pledge Awareness for Change is it is a cause which I never in my life want to register as an NGO, because a lot of people have asked me. So I've registered it as a social initiative. Because the whole principle that I wanted to work on is based on something called, if you want to do something good for the society, do it. No too much talking. Action speaks louder than words. You be a neighborhood ambassador.
Correct.
That is what I call it. So I started off by speaking about with cleanliness, trying to teach people in like certain communities to keep their premises clean. Then from clearing garbage, then I took it to safety, as to why safety is very important. But now I've taken it to a level because, see, I went through acute clinical depression thrice, Amy, in my life. So a lot of people, the first time I went through clinical depression, I didn't know it was clinical depression. I've mentioned this earlier. It was at a period when it was a social taboo, as well as I didn't know the term depression. Second time, it was still a social taboo. I knew the term depression, but going to a doctor or medication, nobody had anything about it, and people had opinions and views and advices and suggestions that would definitely confuse me as to what should I do. The third time I went through clinical depression, that is when this taboo, it's still there, Amy, like when I heard a couple of people speak. So taboo is still there. I knew the term depression, but because I had been through the first and second time, I also knew the role of a good psychiatrist, a genuine psychologist, and a counselor. And I went through it and I came out of it really well. So then I knew, and then as I came out of it, I asked myself, why me, and several times, when people see me, okay, she's a dancer, she's a biker, she does so many things, come on, yeah, she's just being a drama queen, she's trying to gain attention. Then people, and all this is in the mind, a state of mind. Arey, depression वैसे नहीं होते. People just say one fancy word they have. This is what I heard. It used to really hurt me, Amy, and I decided I'm not going to reply to these people. because I decided my recovery is important. In that recovery, it's not, I don't have the energy to waste on trying to convince people as to what depression is or what mental health is and how is it that everybody goes through it, but they feel so frightened to talk about. Everybody is like hiding it and suffering. In some cases, they end up losing their lives. Some people lose loved ones, and it's only after that they wake up saying, okay, is there something like this we should have known? And many a times we see a lot of people saying, like, suppose there is an incident that occurs, immediately the social media is flooding with things like, from today onwards we will listen, and please, I will give you coffee, I will give you tea whenever you want, be there to talk. And trust me, whether you give me coffee, tea, or one person gave me one biryani, which I regretted for the rest of my life, because she knew that I was going through, she knew I recovered from depression, and there she came with one biryani to my house, to my doorstep. She stayed in my house for 1.5 years, literally forcing her stay in my house, and she went around spreading rumors about me that because I was going through depression, I would say things like I will jump from my balcony, which I never did, but she was just using me to stay in my house. And that's when I realized there is a vulture out there. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. So it is high time that people don't get misused by such people. And what am I going to do about it? And that's when I thought, no, the best is to visual media has its best reach.
Yes.
And the lessons that I learned out of my experiences with depression, I converted that into the movies.
Yes.
And it was really the title itself, To Win Your Battle, Stay Alive. It is a battle, and we're not here to lose a battle.
Right.
And the only criteria for this is to stay alive, because this time will pass. If you know the right things you have to do, and if you have the good support system, we all can come out. Every depression does not lead to suicide, and every suicide is not depression. And it's also that anybody loses their life, and if it is an unnatural death, immediately it is, oh, the person was depressed. So people have a taboo that if you go through depression, okay, definitely this person has suicidal tendencies. So unknowingly, without knowing anything about it, we tend to spread false messages.
False information, yes.
Information, and the taboo increases. It becomes a social stigma. People are not willing to go to a psychiatrist. They just don't, they're willing to say, okay, I'm going to a gynecologist, or I'm going to an orthopedic or any other doctor, but psychiatrist, hush.
Yeah.
Psychiatry is a part of medicine. Why do you treat a psychiatrist like as if he's poor thing, whoever, it's like you shouldn't have studied psychiatry, you did something so wrong. You make, poor doctors, it's like people are so ashamed to be treated by them. So then I decided, no, I have to make a difference. Yes, Amy. Yeah, sorry.
How has the feedback been so far, Anita? How has the response been? Are people able to accept messages like this in today's times, or are they still unsure about what to do with that short film? Like, what do we take from it?
Okay, it is, see, with the release of the short film, a lot of people have watched it. In fact, I think now itself it's reaching around 1,000 views. It just got released. So that itself shows that people have watched it, they have accepted it, and I've got a lot of feedback from people that the message was really, even though it was very subtle, it is really to the point, and it has, and a lot of people have said that several bits of the movie they could relate to one thing or the other. So we took it from 3 different angles. One, a person who goes through panic attack, and nobody speaks about panic attack ever. I've been through panic attack. I know that the impulse it causes, and in that impulse you may take a wrong decision.
Right.
So that's why I decided people need to know what a panic attack is. Then the first movie is about realizations, and the second, and what pushes you to the brink of depression. And the third is, suppose if you end up taking the wrong decision, you have no chance of coming back. Look what you're leaving behind. So it has been very well received, but nevertheless, Amy, one thing that caught my attention was I have around nearly 1,000 plus, means nearly 2,000 people. I don't know how many Facebook friends I have. So I posted this on my Facebook wall. whenever I have posted a fantastic picture of mine, I have so many comments and so many likes and loves and all that. Fantastic. But this is something on mental health. When I see, this is the first time I looked at the likes that I'm getting and whether there are any comments. Likes are less, comments are less, and frankly speaking, I have a lot of my relatives on my Facebook wall. If you all are watching, I'm sorry, I have to tell you this, okay? And I'm using this virtual platform to tell you this. All my relatives who are there on my Facebook wall, sometimes they will say, oh, wow, we're very proud of you and all, messages keep coming. It doesn't get into my head and neither am I extra happy because my relative wished me. But this is something that I have spoken about in the open. Not a single relative has liked my video, or I don't know if they watched it, not a single comment also. So that means it is such a social taboo even now. Otherwise they message me, otherwise they, we are very, I decided, Amy, one thing. I'm not here to make people forcefully accept it. But there are a lot of people, see, when we had a panel discussion at 5 o'clock in the evening, there were around 34, 35 participants, which is a good thing.
Yes.
That itself shows an acceptance and the fact that we are willing to change.
Right.
So I really request those of y'all who are watching this and those of y'all who have watched the movie, please share it as much and understand that mental health is a part of our physical health. I would say mental health is connected to the brain, and brain is inside our physical self. From mental disturbance to mental trauma to mental health, it goes on from one to the other, and there is a stage in your life where you need medical help, where you need experts to talk to you. It doesn't make sense if you go to your neighbor and talk because you don't want to go to a specialist. Your neighbor may tell you something which is temporary consolation, but maybe there would be a point when you don't get access to your neighbor or your friend, and that is when you may end up taking the wrong decision in your life. So that is why be bold. I in fact announced that my psychiatrist, Dr. Preeti Swaroop, was on the panel that day. And it's like, Shubhu, how did you admit? The psychiatrist. I'm very proud of him because he got me out. He's amazing as a doctor and I'm so happy I went to him. Why should I hide it?
True, true.
Correct? So this is the change I'm looking at. And stop branding people like mental health means, you're mad or a lunatic. It's not that.
Thank you.
People
Thank you
still
so
think,
much, Anita, for not just making the movie, but actually you're speaking the truth, just saying it out there, saying it as it is, because I think this is the need of the hour. And when someone like you, who is so involved in not just filmmaking but art, and you're a professional in the corporate industry and government sectors, you're a CEO of Persona Script, you have so many people whom you are connected with through work, professionally, and when a person like you says this, it does have an effect. You may not be getting the likes or comments, I feel, but you're definitely reaching people. So thank you so much for doing what you do, and this is something that I really love about you, the fact that you actually do what you believe in. You don't just say things, you do it. So that is really amazing, and yeah, something a little less
I just hope,
heavy now.
Yeah, I just hope, I love animals, yeah.
Tell us about that bond you shared with animals. I remember seeing this post of yours. You picked up a stray from the road and you posted a picture of him before, and now looks like a completely, like, pura makeover ho gaya uska. So tell us about him.
I know. His name is Scooby. In fact, I had a surgery in, I think, August 13th. I had a surgery, and it was a hysterectomy. And September 6th, I was going to a doctor for checkup. So I was not supposed to take the Alwal road. On my way back, something came up where I had to go to Lasyadrutha. I went to Lasyadrutha and I was on my way back. There I saw a white car pass by and a small little, it was like a rat, a rodent lying on the road and moving, and I was like, oh, rodent. Then I saw it, I said, it's a puppy, So I asked my driver, just stop the car, and he went out and I asked him to bring it. And then I saw this, so maybe it was 10 days old, 10 or 15, not more than that. So I sat over there, we looked for the mother, we looked for this one, no. Then I saw some truck drivers and I spoke to them, they said, Arey, this fellow is one notorious guy, we looked after him for 5 days, abhi to we thought, jo hona hai, hone do, we are fed up. And they left him, they said we can't, because he's always going onto the main road, and they got fed up. So then I thought, no, I can't leave him here. So I called several animal rescue centers and none of them were willing to take him, Amy. And they said that, see, if he met with an accident, he lost an eye or a leg, we would take him. But now he's healthy, no? So I said, no, I'm not healthy to look after him. And I've got 2 dogs in my house already. So I cannot take responsibility. But I didn't, find a home. Then there were people who came, okay, then a person said, no, my son wants a dog, but I'm not sure if he will like after the puppy stage. That's when it struck me that he is a indie or a stray, as you know, stray indie as it is called. It's very easy to leave him back on the streets. So then, now that he's come in my care, I wouldn't want him to go through that ever again.
Right.
You know, so then I started nurturing him, and he's grown up to be such a fantastic sweetheart, a troublemaker, definitely very naughty and energetic, but he's become so much a part of our lives, and most important, our golden retrievers Simba and Buddy have accepted him. That's when I realized between animals, they don't have caste, creed or looks or golden or brown or nothing, no barriers, and they have adapted so well. So what's the big deal if we can have more of them? So that's
such a beautiful family you have.
Thank you, Amy.
Touch wood. God bless all of y'all, all the puppies, the dogs, and thank you so much for sharing so much with us, Anita. And you were so honest and just so true to everything you said. And this is what I love about you. This is what inspires me so much about you. And I still remember, I want to share this incident. We were dancing together for a dance production, and I was a lot younger than what I am now. And I was getting agitated, and I was like, oh my God, how is this going to happen? Nothing is done. Rehearsals are not done. Light person has not come. This, that. And you just came, put your hand on my shoulder and said, hey, how old are you? Breathe. Calm down. And I felt this instant connection with you, and I'm so happy that I still feel that with you, Anita. And thank you so much for being who you are, and for touching so many lives, for helping me in so many situations by just being there. And any parting thoughts for all of us?
The most important thing in life is to stay alive, as I have said. And it's not only important to stay alive, but start living. Don't put yourselves in a shell for other people. Because remember, if you are going to do something that is good for you or progressive, there will be 100 people telling you why not to do something. But if you go through a sad moment in your life or even through depression, none of these people are going to come and lift you out of it. So don't seek approval or validation. The only thing you need to ask yourself is your conscience clear? Am I doing something that's right? And the 3 weapons, as I say, never let them attack you. One is fear, guilt, or regret. These are the 3 weapons, as I call. Never let it come in your way or attack you. So apart from that, just stay happy. There will be difficult times, but it's never going to last. This day will pass.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Anita. Thank you for taking the time out
to
do this. It definitely means the world to me, and I'm sure everyone who watches this, even if they don't like or comment, I'm sure the message will go through strong and clear. So
I just hope, as I said, even with regard to the 3 movies, I just hope, I don't want the likes or the comments. If people share it without taboo, it means the world to me. It's not about me, it is about the message. And together, let's kill the taboo and social stigma associated with mental health. Because if you're physically really healthy and mentally weak, it's not going to help. Whereas if you are mentally really strong and something goes wrong physically, you can still stand up.
True.
So this is the importance of mental health. So please take it further positively. And let's be there for all the people and share amongst ourselves.
True.
Then, Amy, thank you so much for having me on this tour.
Oh, I can't believe you're thanking me, but I love you, Anita, and I look forward to meeting you
Love you too.
soon. Stay safe, take care.
Sure.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much to
Amy. Take
everyone who's
care.
watching. Thank you for all your comments. There are people who are commenting, Anita, saying, great discussion, well said, ma'am. That's really sweet of you, ma'am. Love for animals. So these are all people who enjoyed listening to you speak, Anita. So thank you. Thank you
All
for being
right.
a part of this. Take care.
Thank you, Amy.